Welcome back to Bougie TV. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Listen, I'm trying something new. I am trying to do unpopular band opinions, okay? And now today's title, after I done recorded this like 16,000 times, is Bandhead culture versus music education. Now, if you know somebody that always have an opinion but didn't go to school, tag them in this dang on video, okay? The first thing I want to talk about, some bandheads care more about who got the loudest crowd reaction than who actually plays the music right. You know what? That's so crazy to me. How we got band heads thinking, oh, the crowd ain't sync with it, they ain't loud enough with it. That means they won. No, that does not mean you can't base off a battle based off the crowds. I mean, I don't know why people insist that that's a automatic win when you hear the crowds cheering. You got to think about it. Majority of the crowds ain't really cheering for the band. Some are cheering for the majorettes. Majority of them, it's half and half. You got some cheering because they see other people. It's half and half. So you can't just basically based off a battle based off what a crowd thinks. But we got people that do that. You know, I also think being a band head does not mean you understand music, okay? It just means that you watch a lot of clips. A lot of y'all are not, when I say not, y'all not certified. Y'all don't have a degree. Y'all just based off of, matter of fact, I think the band heads from the 90s are horrible. Like, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because if you actually talk to a band head that's in the 90s, talk about Southern, talk about Jackson State, talk about Florida A&M, what are they going to say to you? They're going to say, "Oh, we was popping," in which they were popping back in the day. But when you keep lingering on to the 90s and you try to go through this new generation and say, "Oh, we wasn't acting like this back in the day," of course you wasn't, because it's a whole different generation. But y'all assume some bandheads assume that you really just we don't know anything about music. If we don't produce a certain sound, oh, it sounds bad to them. You know what I'm saying? And this will brings to my next one. HBCU band culture is elite. But sometimes the education side gets overshadowed by entertainment. And I think that's what really happens. Like people that actually went to school, myself, that actually was in a program, music program, education program, myself. And now that I'm actually out of it, and now I see people that's making remarks about, oh, this band is trash because they didn't play it right. This band is this and that. You know, what my response will be to half of these people. I say, well, you arrange it then. You arrange it since you got your degree, since you know everything. You arrange it. Go ahead, because last time I checked, they got the position. You didn't. They actually worked their tail off. People don't understand how stressful it is to go to school for music education. People don't understand the likelihood of you getting a good job, being a teacher, a music teacher, and making good money is slim to none, because teachers in general don't make a lot of money unless you're in a college profession. And sometimes even college professors don't make a lot of money. So it's kind of like, I feel like the educational side does get overshadowed because people want to experience the litness. I get it. But some people don't understand why certain arrangers, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. I'll corn. You know what? We ain't gonna be petty like that. We not gonna be petty. You know, I just felt like another opinion that I really been seeing and hearing is half the people that judge bands can't even read a single sheet of music. Ain't that crazy? We got all these band heads that say, "Oh, I've been a band head since '93," but can't even read a simple march. Can't even read a simple. Half of y'all can't even play a dang on quarter note to save your life. Y'all can't even play a B flat scale. Let me ask you a question. How many scales is they are? How many? How many? Think about it. Don't use Google, because some of y'all like using Google. Don't use Google. How many? There's so many scales out there. It's not just your basic major and minor. There's jazz scales, chromatic scales. Was it tritones? I think it's a tri. Is it tritones? See, that's how long. I think it's something with a T. Don't get me wrong. See, I forgot it. See, I forgot it. But there's a lot of scales out there, and but y'all be judging bands based off of if it sounds good, if you hype. That's what it is. But y'all don't understand music. Y'all don't understand music theory. So when a person asks you what key this song is in, half of y'all gonna be like, I don't know. It just sounds good to me. Of course, because there's a method behind the madness. Of course. And I really do feel like this is opinion that really don't get talked about is we hype up volume and energy so much, but that we ignore tone, tuning, and technique. Let's talk about two bands. Two, okay? Can I be this is a safe space, right? Let's talk about two bands, right? And I love them dearly. Now, I do want to talk about a band that I just love just making fun of and picking at because it's fun to me. But I respect them. It's a love-hate relationship. Alcorn. Alcorn. When Alcorn went to Texas Southern in 2025, hmm hmm a lot of people said that Alcorn smacked Texas Southern, and a lot of people said that Texas Southern smacked Alcorn. Now, as we can go back through the ages, we have known Alcorn as a what? The sounds of dynamite, hmm which may be true. They was popping back in the day. But as leadership starts to dwindle and leadership starts to change, we start understanding that they rather prefer being loud and wrong than actually being right and have a lot of quality. hmm And it's crazy to me how we can, because the problem is if Alcorn just change up the way that how they play, instead of trying to crank every single song and actually play with control, man, they'll be the best band out there. Just like Talladega. We have seen Talladega from 2013. Now, 2013, they was different. That was different. But 2013 all the way up to 2025, it's been interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, but some people they love the loud sound. They think just because it sounds loud and they're overpowering. Matter of fact, that's like Crankfest 2019 when Talladega went to Jackson. No, went to Southern for the Crankfest. Oh, them fans was having it. Oh, they say yeah, Jackson lost to Talladega, Southern lost just because they played loud. Okay, you can play loud, but if your tone is horrible, I think a lot of people are tone deaf to be honest with you. But you know what's so crazy? And I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna close at this one, bro. Bandheads would scream, they won, and don't even know what key the song is in. That is crazy to me. You saying that a band won because the crowd reaction, how you feel, but musically, it's like which band played the cleanest. I think a lot of band heads don't really, some of them don't really pay attention to this. Just because they sound good and play loud, don't automatically make them a winner. Okay. There's other bands that stunk a win because of the arrangements. Matter of fact, Alabama, I think it was Alabama A&M versus Alabama State. I don't remember what year it was, but a lot of people said that Alabama State lost, and I can understand that because Alabama State, I guess, kind of got a little cocky a little bit, but Alabama A&M said, "Oh no, nah, we're gonna hit you hard with music," and that's what happened. So when it comes to like really just being this band community world, like I understand that we all have our critiques. I understand that we all feel some type of way. I understand that we're not always going to be on the same page. But when it comes to actually being in music and actually going to school for music and understanding certain things about music, don't argue back with somebody that has a degree. I get that you're a fan, and there's nothing wrong with being a fan of the sport. Nothing wrong with that. But come correct. Because I have to come correct. I can't argue back with people about band because I don't see the point of it. I can't sit here for 20 minutes arguing back and forth about what schools sound best, what this and that. No. If you like a certain school, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I can't sit here and force you to do something that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the band community is like right now. I feel like we're in a war, which is crazy to say that we're in a war, like a band war, trying to see who will become number one. I mean, to me personally, I feel like we all should be striving to be the very best that we can be. But when it comes to certain people that I would not mention, but I'm gonna mention a fan base. There's like four fan bases I don't mess with. That's Southern, Jackson State, Alabama State, in Florida A&M, because no matter what you say about their school, they gonna rep their school as always. But then they gonna put a simple fact talking about back in 2013, we was running stuff. Back in 2011, we was doing this. Back in 1984, we was running stuff still. And I don't argue back and forth with them type of people because they're on a different level than I am. Different level of ignorance. And I can't sit there and argue back and forth with y'all. Can't do it. But let me know what you guys think. Am I telling the truth about these opinions? Because this is what I have seen and this is what I have heard. But the next time, hope that you have a fantastic day. Remember, don't argue back and forth with people who don't have a degree. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hold on. I'm kidding. You can argue back and forth, but just be mindful. It's just a sport and we all love being, okay?